back, everybody, to Brobrack Dragmas. We're talking about Mas Draga Season 7.
Episode 2.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Juan.
And we are going to talk about this very interesting episode in which the theme was Sylvia Pinal.
So we begin this episode, we left on a cliffhanger from episode 1, where we were just informed that while no one was going to be eliminated the first episode, always kind of feels a bit of a waste if you ask me. But then also because we do want to see all the talent on the first week, and I guess it makes sense not to let anyone go. But they did tell them specifically there would be 7 feminosas that would be threatened to be eliminated. The 7 that won their lip sync challenges on episode 1 had immunity for this episode. So if you did terrible on episode 1, or you won your lip sync and you did terrible on episode 2, but you won it, you had immunity regardless. So it's definitely a really good advantage to win, and a really good time to win your lip sync. So other than that, we get Johnny Carmona speaking to everybody in the very fabulous makeup room. There's just every Oli Oli Oli, we get a wonderful outfit. He's always dressed to the tens. So in the next scene, we go into the challenge for the week, or the runway, which is La Más Silvia Pinal. Silvia Pinal is a Mexican golden era film actress. She was born in the 1930s, and she passed away actually just last year at the age of 93 years old. Worthy of noting, she has been known a lot for her acting, and she was relevant up until like her very last years. She hosted a show on Univision called Mujer Casos de la Vida Real, so stories with drama that involved women and lessons to learn. You know, she's just very cutting edge in the golden era of cinema. If you ask most Mexican people who Silvia Pinal is, they'll know.
Can you come up with like an American equivalent for this? Are we talking like who was the gal that was on Arrested Development that Buster loved? What's her name?
Liza Minnelli.
Liza Minnelli. Is this like a Liza Minnelli type, or are we talking like Marilyn Monroe? I mean, Marilyn Monroe never got the chance to be older, but can you think of an American equivalent for this?
So it's always really hard to kind of like put the equivalent, because
it's not the same thing.
Oh, okay, Yvonne.
Again, like cinema is very different between both like countries, but what I would say is if you're looking kind of like for an equivalent, then she would probably be, I think a fair comparison would be like what was Liza Minnelli's mom? Judy Garland, of that sort. The Katharine Hepburn type of actress. And as Johnny Carmona basically said, she was born in a time that women didn't have the right to vote. So for her to go from there to be able to host her own show that was really centered around like women and women issues, and she lived all the way up until Mexico got a female president. So, you know, she lives such a life with so many big moments, especially like, you know, for a woman. So I would say that it was a very dignant choice to make a theme about her. It's not like, oh, just anybody.
Yeah, it wasn't like coming out of nowhere. It made sense.
Safe to say that Bruno and Carlo, the creators of La Más Draga, are very specific when they think of each season, and they know what they want. You want to repeat that?
Yeah. Well, why is this slide in here? I don't remember this as part of the episode. Is this how you're celebrating the Los Angeles Dodgers moving forward in the NLCS that are going to play the winner of the Brewers Cubs, or what's the reason for this?
What was the reason? What was the reason?
Yeah, that. And actually, no one would be familiar with it unless you are a special member and you watch the scenes behind the episodes. So this is actually from last week's, and this fine specimen, and I guess we will call him a fine specimen, is Connie Cortez's father. And I just want to take a moment. I don't want to get too preachy, but PSA, and also he can get some and he can be in the train. Sorry, Connie Cortez. He is a wonderful father. So, but they caught Connie Cortez's dad while he was backstage, and they talked to him, and he just started talking about how, you know, he might look a little rough around the edges, but he's like, you know, he is so fucking proud of his son, Connie Cortez. What's it called? And that's his champion, and that he loves him so much, and he's gonna go to every single episode shooting, and he cannot wait. He asked Bruno and Carlo, like, for your guys' consideration, take him to the finale, take really good care of him. He is just incredible, and I am such a proud dad. So it just was such a touching moment. I think, you know, I don't want to turn this into a really dark session of like, oh, we don't see that a lot, but you don't see that. And then on top of it, LGBTQ, like, so to see a father be so proud of, you know, their kid, it was really touching. And, you know, he did tear up a lot, and I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm into Connie Cortez's dad.
Oh my God.
So, I mean,
he just looked like some dude. He just looked like some guy here. So I wasn't quite sure when I saw the
he's kind of beefy too. So there was that too. So, I mean, I'm like, I'm sorry, Connie Cortez. I say this with all the respect in the world, but if you are looking for a stepmom,
got it.
I can be that for.
All right. Well,
sure.
Hey, congratulations, Connie Cortez's dad.
We need more dads like this.
Yeah, we truly, no joke, we do need more dads like this. I mean, we watch a lot of episodes of a ton of different shows. How often are parents ever brought up? And if they're brought up, it's negative. And it's never like, oh yeah, my parents were like super, especially my father. My father was like really supportive of me and is like really happy with me. I think it happens like maybe once or twice every couple of shows. All right, here we go. The next slide is the mini challenge. What do they call the mini challenge? I like the way they said it was like a
El Chiqui Reto. Because Chiqui is small, Reto is challenge. So they call it Chiqui Reto.
So this challenge featured a very prominent photographer that was going to film them in conjunction with, I think it was like a rescue or a shelter or something like that, where they had dogs from the shelter, bringing them on and to take pictures of them for a calendar. Now, I tried to buy this calendar. I wanted to kind of rush it to you before we recorded, but for the fucking life of me, I could not find a link to purchase this calendar. So if anyone out there knows how to get me one of these calendars, I will buy like 4 of them.
You guys already heard that. So I think you did a really good job recapping. Up here in the first image, you can see how strong Toxico is. Again, he is in one of the early cabooses on the train. He has just the best smile, a lot of talent. I mean, a lot of talent.
How old is he? He looks young. He looks very young.
I would say like mid-20s, which is young, you know, but that's okay. He has a really, really nice smile and seems like he has a great personality, and he's really supportive of his feminosas. He's always helping them. That said, yeah, they come in with a bunch of dogs from shelter that they're trying to promote people to rescue dogs. This is really important because in like any part of the world, there are far too many animals that are in shelters, and some of them, some of them are not always non-kill shelters, so it's just really good for people to, you know, adopt and all of that.
Yeah.
So having said that, the winner of the mini challenge or Chiqui Reto, they were going to be featured on the front of the calendar. The loser actually, and I don't know if you got that on your notes, but they were going to be featured on the back and no spread for the only other way that it could be meaner is like they're like, we're gonna put you on print your face on a toilet piece of paper so people can just wipe their ass with how bad you are. But it seemed fun. It seemed like they were all having a lot of fun, and I mean, I think that's what kind of makes the show really fun.
No, it was a fun challenge, and the winner was Brighty Sun. Congratulations, Brighty Sun, being on the cover of this calendar for a cause.
Yes, and then I just wanted to mention in the bottom, what's it called? Nyla Downs started crying, and I think a lot of us that are pet owners really empathize with her.
I love my dog. 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 I really love my dog.
Because I guess to come to Mexico City to then, do the challenge, she broke down because it reminded her of her own dog at home. So she said this is what she needed to really recharge her up for the competition. And she even had like a dog toy of her dogs so she could get the scent. And I'm like, I understood her.
No, well, was that what it was? I thought it was like a cloth or like a handkerchief or something.
Yeah, it was something like that. So it was emotional.
Yeah, totally. So Bridie Stun wins the challenge, and this is her, I believe.
Yes, that is correct. A really good win too. Her personality is starting to shine, and I think she did such a good job with the photo shoot. And of course, she did what anyone would do, which is thank their gay god that she
yeah and it's an interesting thing, and I guess this is when I'll talk about it, but what was the Spanish word for this? Do you remember what it was? Like, was there a specific word? It's very interesting that they put specifically gay god.
So no,
or did she just say gay god?
No, so I think, and I could be wrong with what was used, but again, we kind of talked a little bit about this earlier, not on camera, but a lot of their translations are more so on expression. So there's not a literal way to say, I mean, you could say it, but it's not going to sound the same. And I feel like I don't want to drag other shows where they do the literal translation, but I think whoever's doing their translating is doing a really good job.
The way that the translation, I guess, or the subtitles work are very similar to what I'm not really an anime guy, but some of the anime that I watched when I was like in high school and like early college, there would be, because sometimes there's things in like Japanese that happen where like if you were to translate, it'd be like, this isn't really telling the whole story, or maybe there's a pun involved, or maybe there's some sort of cultural element, and then it'll have like a cultural note where it'll say something and it'll be like, oh, by the way, in Japan, this means blah, 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 or this was a pun off of this. They did that a few times on this. I don't know if you watched the subtitled version, Juan, but there was a couple of instances where when they first talked about Sylvia Pinal and then hit her daughter, they made a note that meant like, hey, this is like an inside joke referring to the family. And then there was another one later where one of the things that my wife...
You put spray cologne on your girl?
I spray girls' cologne on my pillows to make me think they're there.
But you pointed out was at 3027, if you want to look it up, the caption says gay disbelief, which I don't know exactly what that means, but I have experienced gay disbelief. I've seen it in other people. It seems like regular disbelief, but it is unique. It is unique.
Can you give examples of the people that you have seen gay disbelief come
So
from?
the times that I've experienced gay disbelief being shown to me was so I'm a big San Diego Padres fan, and then my Padres lost heartbreakingly to the Chicago Cubs.
Tragic.
And as I was telling my brother, your partner, this, he went, it was like,
that is
so
gay disbelief.
And it was gay disbelief, but sarcastic gay disbelief. But again, shout out to whomever is doing the
they're doing a great
things.
job.
They're not doing AI. They're not doing, like, they're putting a lot of thought into this, and it's really, really appreciated. As a person whose Spanish is not particularly good and is waiting for the next day. So do you want to go straight into the challenge? Into the runway?
We can go into the runway.
All right. In the challenge, we of course have to talk about our guests who were looking incredible. Go through these looks. I think this the white look on top was very good, and I will say she is warming up to the point where I think she's in like mid-season form, as we would say in sports.
I don't know if she's in mid-season form, but I will agree with you that there's drastic improvement from the first episode, which is why we can't just rush and just assume they're going to be bad the whole season. I think she still has areas of improvement. She still kind of moves slow through all the sponsors and introducing the judges. But I think she's starting to blend in a little bit more, have more fun and relax. So it feels a little bit more natural and organic. So I think she's on the right path if she continues. By the mid-season, I think she will be pretty solid, and I can see why she was chosen. Now, if we move on to Yari Mejia, the middle, look, her hair and her outfit were immaculate. I don't know if she's referencing a specific video game character, but it was giving. The hair was everything. She had a little prop that was just really, really cool. I just always appreciate what she brings, and she's bringing it this season. And she's not sick, and so I really
she can talk this season, so I'm excited.
Yeah. Lastly, we have Natalia Sosa, the newest permanent judge for the season. And I wasn't mad. Like, her look was okay, but I think she definitely improved from her previous week. She is starting to come in a little bit harder at our feminosas, but I think without the constructive criticism, they're not going to grow. So I think, we're off to a good start with all of these.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, Juan. So who wore it better? Letal or Yzma? And by the way, a great it's not a costume, it is like an elevated look, it is like an elevated drag. I think it was a really good look. I loved it.
Yeah, if Disney ever learns how to write a live version of a film correctly, I think Letal could easily be Yzma, but I'm just afraid with a lot of the ones that they have made, they somehow always fumble it, so I don't want them to touch such a classic. But if they did, and they did it right, I mean, it only makes sense. They
definitely will, and it will be awful. But
especially because they'll miss the opportunity to include Letal. Yzma is an icon. Emperor's New Groove is such a good movie. So for her to pay such a tribute to, incredible. I mean, I already love Letal. There's almost no wrongdoing Letal can do, because she just elevates this show. And even when, she's not always someone that I agree with, I just love to hear what she has to say. And that sauciness that she is known for, what was it, something that she kept repeating this time? It wasn't her truco. There was something she kept saying throughout the night. Do you remember it? I was like,
our final judge, Juan.
Silvia Pasquel?
Yes.
Silvia Pasquel is Silvia Pinal's daughter. She also, I guess what some people, I don't want to get canceled for saying she's a bit nepo, but she stands for her own.
She referenced it. She referenced being nepo.
And then she, we'll talk a little bit about the final deciding things, but anyway, she is the daughter of Silvia Pinal, so it makes the most sense to take someone that had, like, they paid a tribute to her mom, so it 100% makes sense. I just want to say that in addition to that, she is actually quite recognized in the Mexican world, like, of telenovelas. Like, she had an acting career of her own. Most recently, she was on a Netflix series that followed her and a couple other big actresses from, like, telenovelas called Siempre Reinas, while they pursued their ventures of recording a song. So, quite known. She's mostly known just for acting, not like singing. She also has a daughter named Stephanie Salas, who is a singer. She's not that known, but some people know her, I guess. And she is the sister. So Silvia Pinal is the mother to Silvia Pasquel and very well-known artist Alejandra Guzman. Keep that name in mind, because when we get to the doblaje, the lip sync, they lip sync to Silvia Pasquel's sister Alejandra Guzman.
Got it. This was another part where there was a cultural note, where there was a phrase that she kept saying, and also the host in white was also saying something about, like, big savings, or this is what I'm going to do with my savings, or something like that. Apparently, it was a commercial or some sort of reference to it that they had a little a note in that I thought was also kind of interesting. All right, first up we have Calypso. What are your thoughts, and then give me your grade?
Yeah, let me just start by saying I should have mentioned this at the beginning of when we talked about the challenge, but I just want to say that I think that although they do a really good job in explaining the challenge and runway, sometimes some of these references, and I'll be the first to admit that I'm not always going to know every single one. So I know a little bit of Silvia Pinal and quite enough to know that who she was and all of that, but even some of the references that are kind of alluded to will be beyond me. So if there's anyone in the comments or anything like that that wants to elaborate or correct anything that I might have not gotten right, by all means, you know, I'm not too proud to be corrected. But that being said, I know that like there's a lot of like looks that were kind of like showgirl-ish, and so we'll see that really repeated on the runway. But we start with Calypso. I will say, just as it pertains to the like look itself, I don't know how it compares to like any look that Silvia Pinal, because again, the eras that I know her more are in her later years. But I did appreciate that instead of that like kind of same makeup, we're seeing a little bit of a different thing from her. And you know, I don't know, I'm starting to see that she has a little bit more to offer between the first episode to the second. I like to be incorrect about people. I think I gave her like a B last time, and I don't think we're gonna remember what we gave everyone.
Oh,
but...
I'm tracking them. Don't worry.
Oh, you're tracking.
Once we get to week 3, I'm gonna have the trajectory of where they're at.
Alrighty, well that sounds even better. I was gonna say, so I think I gave her a B minus, but I think I want to switch that minus into just a regular B. I still want to see more from her, but I did like the look. I thought it was very pretty, actually.
Okay, and I'm gonna go pretty close to that. I'm gonna say it was a C plus. She was throwing around these handkerchiefs, and I'm glad you got the shot of this. It's pretty much what her walk was. And there was it wasn't so many of them to be kind of interesting. I think it was literally like 3 of them. She had kind of this big white dress that kind of she took off and became kind of like the showgirl, like you said, which kind of goes into the showgirl, and then also kind of like an old Hollywood theme, which is I was trying to find some sort of similarity between like this and maybe some sort of American thing. But yeah, it just seemed really safe, and it seemed like, okay, she's not going to win with this, she's not going to lose with this. It's a fine look, so that's why I gave her a C plus. Next up, we have Detox Alanis. I gave a B. She had this look, very big look. Seemed like it was very heavy, kind of a big fur, big old Hollywood type of, you know, Sunset Boulevard. For those who have seen, great movie, check it out. Kind of a look, very glammy. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. It was a B. What about you?
Yeah, let me just start by saying that I appreciate a Sunset Boulevard Norma Desmond reference. Sunset Boulevard is one of my top films of all time. Check it out if you haven't. But the other thing that I wanted to say, this episode really, I don't know if it intentionally tied dogs to like Silvia Pinal, but she was so, and I'm gonna tie it to this, don't worry. Sometimes it sounds like I'm really steering completely in a different direction. And so she was known to wear this really extravagant like fur coat. And most recently, there was like on the shows de farandula, so it's like gossip shows. I wouldn't say TMZ because Spanish TV gossipy shows have always kind of existed. I don't know, maybe in English too, but it's not like TMZ. It's more, I guess, like The View type of thing. But
like Entertainment Tonight?
Yeah, no, but it's different. There's a little bit, there's more to it. But anyway, the whole point being that they had shown Silvia Pinal's old coat, and one of the persons taking care of all her stuff had her coat and Silvia Pinal's little chihuahua, and the dog was like whimpering because it recognized her fur coat, and like it was wagging its tail, and it's like it kept barking. So it was really, really sad and touching. And I'm like, I wonder if maybe that's kind of what inspired like the connecting the dog mini challenge to to this. So that's where I was going, because I'm like,
Interesting.
And it was a coat that looked a little like Detox Alani. So
it's funny you say that. The note I have is this looks like Cruella de Vil. It's like the first word I wrote when I saw it come out.
I don't know if it would. Maybe it's faux fur though. I don't know. I do think that Mexico has some very strict laws, and actually more recently has a lot of rights for animals. So like things like SeaWorld or things where you can swim with dolphins and stuff do not exist, because they're starting to be more strict with that, which we appreciate. Good job, Mexico. Anyway, going back to the Docs Alanis' look, I am really surprised by her look so far. Not that, like in a bad way, but I had called out her promo look didn't excite me that much, but she's been pretty consistent. I'll give her a solid B. I'll agree with Craig. I think, there's something there. It looks very old school glam. We'll see if she's able to keep the momentum, but I have been very pleasantly surprised by her.
Okay, awesome.
Okay, so Greta Grimm is still continuing on her, and what she now has dubbed, because they asked her, what type of drag is this that you're doing? She is a self-proclaimed furry, or furra. And so she mixed the words feminosa with furra, and so she said she is a furrinosa. And so I do appreciate the commitment she has to animals, but I love how committed she is to the bit. And this penguin look, somehow she was able to add a little bit of a classic Hollywood element to it. It kind of reminded me of something that you would see like in old like Looney Tunes or something like that. So I don't know if it was like her best look so far, but I think she did what she needed to do. Also, if Club Penguin ever wants a live action remake, I'm just kidding. But I'm gonna give her, this is actually gonna be my lowest grade for her thus far, but I'm gonna give her a B-. But I did like her, and I did like her umbrella.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you as well. I have B- as well. They were giving there was a couple of award giving portions of the walk, and this was one where each one of the members of the, I wish they had I don't know what they're called, the three dudes who were in their fucking underwear or whatever giving out the awards, that she had three of them and she was like fumbling around. It's kind of funny. But all right, next up we have Moon. Originally she comes out in an outfit that says "Yo soy muy macho." It's a black and white look, which is, again with the older look of the film and everything like that. When she first came out, me and my wife we didn't know what we were looking at, including my kid was also watching this part, and she's like, is this like a police officer or something? Like, what are we looking at? I did kind of like it, but not, I don't know. It was okay. The reveal was sloppy. I don't know. I wasn't really a fan of this look, so I have it as a C. What do you got?
Well, I kind of agree to some extent about like that it was, it didn't land the way that it probably should have. I don't seem to mind Moon. I feel like she was very hyped, overhyped for the season, but I will say not my favorite look from her. I think she dodged putting on makeup by putting some like gray undershirt, long sleeve shirt, and I didn't like how that looked when it went into that reveal. So as well as the tights below. Again, not an expert in drag, nor do I proclaim myself to be, but I just know what my eye likes. And when I noticed those like leggings plus like the shirt kind of like wrinkling, I didn't like it as much as I would have wanted to. I'll give her a C+, but I will say that last week a lot of people didn't like her, and I didn't really mind her so much. I think there's something there, but there's also the fact, and I'm not going to use this because there's other queens or feminosas that are from other countries, and so it will always be that much more challenging for someone that maybe the person that they're like doing the runway to is not that emblematic for their like country. That being said, Silvia Pinal is known in Colombia, so and even then she entered La Más Draga knowing that it's unapologetically a Mexican competition. Right. So I do think she maybe should have done a little bit of research.
Great, that was Moon. Next up, we have Connie Cortez.
Jesus, we just covered her father.
I know, and while while the story of her father was touching, and I do sincerely appreciate that. I think sometimes my dad would go to my little league games and be like, "Oof, that sucked. That is embarrassing." And I think not that this was embarrassing or anything.
Oh, that's no.
In the sense that,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, when I'm saying that...
But it was just not the most interesting or powerful of looks. It's by far my lowest noted character or person that I wrote notes on. It's just there wasn't really much to say for this, for me at least. What about for you, Juan?
I would not go and give it a D, that's for sure. I mean, I'll take a D from her father.
Okay.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say and try to even this out by giving her a B-, and here's why. I think she was read to filth, I guess now by my co-host and the judging panel by saying we don't know who you are and this and that, but she took a risk. She had been doing the very repetitive demon, but she changed it up, and I think that's really worthy of noting. I think her actual makeup doesn't look bad at all. Does it look unique? It looks like something that she's never done before, at least since we've seen her on this competition. I'm sure on her Instagram we will see that she probably has played around with femme looks, but I think it's a really good start to seeing some different aspect to her. Is it perfect? No, but I do think that I would have been very irritated if she came out in another red face. So it looks glamorous. It
That wouldn't have been on theme. If she would have done that, that would have been ridiculous.
No, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you could spin it. I just think that I was getting very tired of the same makeup, and I'm seeing something different, which is why I have given her a B. And then I'm giving her a minus because it's still not quite anything out of this world, but it does show that she has other aspects to offer, and I would rather take a queen that, even if she's not as polished as like others, she's showing that she can do a little bit more than just the same thing over and over. So I'm not gonna take her down for doing the thing that I criticized her of doing last week. She did the opposite, and that makes me happy enough. Now, if she does another really bad look, then I'm gonna have to start looking at maybe your grade levels, Craig. But I don't think she's a D in my opinion. And if anything, her what's called necklace and her tulle dress still give old Hollywood. So I don't know. I
think it was just safe. It was safe and like not an interesting.
Yeah, definitely safe. Definitely safe. I'll have to see her do better, like with upcoming looks. I won't be so generous next week if she either repeats the demon thing or she does kind of like just okay makeup, but nothing beyond that.
All right, watch out, Connie Cortez. You're being clocked by Juan. All right, next.
You're the one that gave her a D.
Yeah, well, I'm on it. I'm telling you, I think she is not long for this game. All right, next up we got Candela Yeah coming out in a very interesting kind of picture with a lot of other little pictures around her. I thought it was a pretty good look. I liked the swing, so I gave it a B. What about you?
Wow, we are just in a fight tonight, aren't we? I think that I was generous with her last week. I can't continue to wait for her to deliver, so I'm actually taking her to a C. I thought the look was safe. I didn't really get the portraits. I mean, I understood what she was trying to do, but especially when we have a contestant that hasn't come up yet that really executes photographs very well. Yeah, it's gonna be I need her to step up her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
All right, great. All right, well, good job. All right, we got Tulsa up next. I have a B on this. I thought it was good, above average. She came out in the thing. It was another black and white look, but there was also a little bit of color in here where it said a film by Luis Buñuel. Had Fiend on the ass as she was leaving. It wasn't tailored the best, which is maybe what I would have given it an A because I did like just generally the look overall. I think Benedito also gave her a rose at one point. They use Benedito, that was going to be my comment in general. They use him the most. I think he has the most requests to help, which is really interesting. So yeah, I gave it a B. Where were you at on this one?
You know, I really do feel that each week we're seeing a lot of push for her to make it to the end. I don't know if this is because there is connections to previous contestants, like she's part of the House of Black and White, which is where Paper Cut is from 4th and 5th season. But I'm not mad at the attention for details. I'm gonna give a B. I think this is the look that kind of reminded me a little bit of Moon's, but I think she did it better than Moon.
Yeah.
I will say that I agree that it was ill-fitting. I want to see a little bit more. It's kind of like, if I'm going to be consistent, I want to make sure that, like, I keep in mind that Dulce's starting to do the same makeup over and over. I feel that, you know, it hasn't really changed from, and granted, it's like black and white, but it's time to kind of see a little bit of a change to that. And that's why I said earlier with Goni, like, at least she's doing something different. Now she has very little time to figure out how she wants to make it different and good.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like this is very monotonous, but it was done good. So I mean, I'm not gonna hate on that, but I don't know how much longer I can stand the same makeup over and over and over again, which is hypocritical of me, I know. But let me just correct myself here or defend myself. If anyone points out that I've been very generous with Greta Green, but her makeup doesn't always look the same as whatever animal. So like, sure, she's like a different animal every week, but she's having to kind of challenge herself instead of doing what's safe for her. I think it's a B because it was overall a really effective look, but ask me next week where I'm at, because I feel like she's starting to work my last nerve a little bit.
It happens sometimes in these episodes or in these seasons of these shows, these creative shows, where they have their style and then they do it throughout, and maybe they're praised for it or whatever, but eventually there does become a point where the judge is like, okay, we've seen this a lot, like what else do you got? I'm thinking of like Mondo from Project Runway. It's hard to balance this is my style and then also I'm trying to give you something new. So, you know, I always have some, and it's a creative thing, like you're trying to push out these creative things all the time. It's tough.
I mean, again, we're not makeup experts or connoisseurs, but the whole point being that Dulce has, I'm sure, a makeup palette full of other colors that she can play around with. Give us something a little bit different. I mean, we'll talk about like who wins this week, so we'll put like a spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know because you haven't watched it, that you can click out. But I just hope we see a little bit more. The talent is there for sure. I will continue to say that all of these queens were very well chosen. It's a really good ensemble of cast, but I do get very tired of like, oh, that's it. It's the same thing over and over again. So I hope next week there's a little bit of a different look.
Okay. Yep. All right. Next up, we got Oslo. I am gonna give a C-, only because after her reveal, she comes out in a nurse's outfit, pretty stereotypical nurse's outfit. I think Venenito is sick and needs to be looked at and cared for, and
yeah, he is.
She really sticks that tongue depressor down his throat.
We're not about to dox, but we have a family member, right? And would you say because they are a nurse, this is the uniform you see them wear?
Yeah, when this family member comes back, they are wearing this thing. Yeah, with the shoulder pads too. It seems unsafe, but I don't know. Who am I to judge? But yeah, she really sticks that tongue depressor down poor Benedito's throat. Kind of weird, but and then this is the one where, like, as I'm typing out notes and putting that, she falls so hard on the ground, really, really bad, and not in a graceful way, not like in a ooh, look at me. It was like she clearly was upset. So for that, I gave a C-. Maybe it would even go lower, but there were a few looks that were particularly bad. Where were you at on this one?
I don't mean to like be morbid or like, exploit this poor queen like misfortune on the runway, but I will say, and we need to get to the next one, but I do have to say that it's very important to point out that there's been a criticism. I don't know if I've shared that with you, Craig, but basically there are people from the Drag Race Mexico franchise that believe the queens are not being protected enough by means of if they fall or there's like a wardrobe malfunction, production just keeps it on. But Mr. Johnny Carmona spoke about that actually. And he's like, well, the thing is, this is a real competition and the judges are seeing it live. So he fired back a little bit of shade back their way. I know there's some shows that will re-record things over and over until it's like the right thing. But he's like, but then it's not consistent with what the judges want to critique on. So we don't want to confuse our viewers if they're like, oh, you had a really bad walk, but then it gets edited in such a way where you don't see these type of things. But I will say that they did read her a little too much when, I mean, I'm like, I do think it's hard to rehearse not falling. I'm like, accidents do happen.
Right.
And I don't know if they rehearse on the stage itself or if they rehearse elsewhere, but I don't think there's a way to avoid that. So I can understand the point of not protecting the queens, but at the same time, for us as an audience, I think it's a disservice to leave out these moments. The bigger thing for me, though, now going into the actual topic, is Oslo feels very monotonous with the makeup, but as opposed to the other ones that I've been criticizing for the same thing, I don't know if what it is because I liked her audition a lot. Her makeup just hasn't really done it for me. Her outfits, this is probably her strongest, and that's not saying much. I think I gave her a C- last week. I'll give her a C this week, but I want to see more. I want to be proven wrong. We're only 2 episodes in. I did feel bad for her when she fell down. Come on, like give us something. I think if she would have fallen, I would have maybe given her a C+. But I think overall, her look was okay. This is her most okay look, but I really want to see her elevated because of all the queens, the way that you feel about Connie Cortez is kind of how I feel a little bit about her. So we'll see though.
All right. Let's move on to the next contestant. All right, next up we have Bridie Dunn right after her win of on the mini challenge. I'll go ahead and say I will give her a B. It was a black and pink look. It looked really nice. Again, it was another reveal of being a showgirl, very similar to the Calypso, I believe, the very first contestant. But this one was a little bit more colorful. Good look.
Yeah, I had to say to myself, oh my gay god, when she came out. She really did do pretty good. You know, this is why I say I like to be pleasantly surprised because I kind of ruled her out on the first episode. I feel she is doing pretty good. I will give her a B as well. B+. I'll give her a B+. I think there's nothing bad with the look. The makeup's good. She had a pretty good performance. I think there's a lot of like personality that shines through. I was doubting her. I still want to see more from her maybe because she seems very green at this, but not bad. Not bad at all.
Okay, awesome.
Why is my text getting bigger?
You're just now noticing that? I've been doing it slowly throughout the whole episode. It's gonna cover up the whole screen soon, don't you worry. All right, next up, Rikura Santana. I have it as a B. She comes out with a very long cigarette, old Hollywood glam kind of a look. She does have her big giant mouth that takes up 75% of her face, which I think is fun, but I think it kind of goes to what you're saying, you know, earlier, where maybe people will get old of it, but this look, this face that she gives a lot, she's giving it throughout the episode all the time. And maybe it's her signature look and maybe people like it or maybe people grow old of it, but right now I'm liking it. So, but what about you?
Let me just start by saying that she has a lot of energy. I think her look was actually very, very pretty. She kind of looks like a young Charro.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like in the 80s. So I'm just hoping that one day she just pulls out the maracas and does, what did she say? Like coochie.
Gucci. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That said, I don't know if it was a real standout for me. I'm gonna give her a C+. I think it was okay. I like her energy a lot. I want to see more, and I'm saying this about
What was a grade?
C+. Is it gonna even fit in, Craig? Because you could just keep making it bigger.
No, it didn't. There we go.
You're just gonna like move it
It'll be a
around.
scroll, yeah.
So with that said, I think she looks really pretty in the drag. The dress, no issues with. I want to see a little more, but she's not bad. I like her personality. I just more maybe. Give me more.
Yeah, like a certain queen once said. All right, we have Excel DeVille up. I have a B. I like this look. It kind of looks like maybe if the Sailor Moon was in her ultimate form. Kind of looks like that. I think there's a look that Sailor Moon has where she is in all white with this type of look on her head. Maybe I'm mistaken, but that's why I like this one, because it reminded me of Sailor Moon. What about you?
Anyway, let's go into the look. I think Excel DeVille really seems very messy on the show as a contestant. It seemed like there were a lot of them that had drama with her on the first episode. But as messy as she is, she's very polished, and there's something to be said about that. So she 100% captures exactly when I critique some of the others for kind of giving a little bit of the same old, because unlike those, she's not sticking to the same makeup color palettes. Like, she might have similar like eye patterns around her eyes, but she does it really effectively. And I don't know, she just does outfits very well, and the whole look together looks great. So I'm gonna go ahead and give her an A. I really liked it. I like the little moon thing on the head. I think she's so far to one of the most solid starts. Not the most solid start, but she's definitely delivering each week. So
yeah,
that's it.
This is the one where it must have been something from a movie or something, but she acted very passionately about women and how they're always treated poorly, and she was like very, very passionate. It was kind of decent acting for all things considered. Maybe that's why I gave her such a higher than average grade. Seemed like a kind of an intense thing for such a campy, goofy show, but who am I? Who am I to judge art?
You already know, anytime they get the microphone, something's about to go down.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not always good.
Yes, that's true. I'm just glad it wasn't singing. Next, we have Kaus Lascivia. This is one of the probably the most interesting look, and I think it's maybe the most divisive of them all. It is the black and white look with, on the back of it, the reveal was it was a dead sheep or lamb or something like that. And then I forget who presents it. I think it's Toxico presents an open, like he's a waiter or something, and then is the shot that you put here, Juan, the head of a lamb with kind of these red beads to kind of be like the blood of it. I tend to like this type of thing. I think it's interesting, and it's interesting. It's at least a swing, which I do appreciate always. I have it as a B. Where are you at on this?
I was very confused. If someone in the comments can clarify what it meant or how it like referenced, I don't know, because I want to like it. There's almost like a Dragula-esque element to it, but because I was so taken back because I'm not familiar with a reference, I don't want to rate it low, because if it was a really good reference, then great. But it also was mostly confusing to me, so because of that, I'll play it safe and give her a B-.
All right, we have our winner, Nyla Downs. My grade, again, all these grades that I'm giving, and I think you as well, are our initial reaction. So we don't really factor in the judges' critiques or anything like that. I'm not really changing our scores. We're men of integrity, right, Juan? So I'm not changing my score. I had it as a B. I did like it. I was worried. This is the look where she's wearing all gold. I think maybe she's trying to be like kind of like the Oscar or whatever, like the statue or whatever, with a bunch of film panels from films that what's her name, Sylvia Pinal is from. I was worried that they were gonna say like this is too construction-y, homemade-y, this it almost could border along the lines of, for those who like The Simpsons, when Lisa Simpson dressed up as Florida.
Hello, Florida.
I'm not a state. I'm a monster.
It could be really crappy looking. But hey, congrats, she's the winner. And she was acting the whole time. Juan was showing me a few little memes or snips of what people are saying about it. And while like throughout the whole critiques of everyone, she's still in her, in her zone, acting as if she's this statue or whatever. What do you think of our winner today?
Number one, I'm a man of integrity too, so I just want to put that out there. But
I said we.
I know you said we. I just want to make sure that when you hear my grade, it's not because I'm siding with the judges. I actually want to give it an A+, and I will. I think part of it is a little bit of like the references. So again, my bias doesn't come from the judges. It comes from the fact that Naila is a painter. So anybody that gets into painting, to me, I'm a painter on the side. I could not do it to my face, but I could definitely do it on a canvas. So to mold it to a non-flat surface is incredible. And yeah, she probably crafted the outfit herself, but I mean, week after week, she's giving us something different. And where I think maybe it's a B, but if you heard this part, it might change. Her makeup on her face was supposed to be Silvia Pinal, but she did it all in monochromatic gold. But it was wild because there were times when you would see her and you're like, am I seeing like the face painted to look like Silvia Pinal? And I don't blame you because you do need to go off of your feeling. That's what we kind of do. Hey, I admit it, like with Gaos, maybe she had an A+ too. I just didn't get it because I'm not that familiar. And so I think it's a very fair and valid thing that you said to be like, okay, I didn't quite like, because ultimately, if it's a mass audience watching it, they may understand some of the things, they may not. But yeah, I mean, you didn't rate it like a C or like a D, poor Connie Cortez, like her dad's gonna come after us. So yeah, no, for me, that it was that face detail that she did that I was like, whoa, like, am I seeing that reference? So she did really, really, really good once I like zoomed in on the face. Again, I agree with the outfit. It could be kind of like a little, it could be improved better, but if this is what she's coming in, and most feminosas come in with a lower budget than what they end up getting after they start booking gig after gig, I think she has a pretty exciting career ahead of her. I do think she has a vision, and winning 2 challenges back to back, I think she's doing things very right. I'm scared though, because the higher you go, the harder you fall. But I mean, I'm very excited to see her. She wasn't the first person from promo that I would have put my money on, and that's why I say I like to be wrong. Some of the feminosas that we have not necessarily been the most generous with our scores are sometimes some of the people that can later shut us up with their work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that this is a classic example. I would have never known that she was this good.
And maybe just like, honestly, from a strategic standpoint, maybe just do some safe ones. Don't keep being the best. I think that kind of hurts yourself in these creative shows, is if you're always on top and then you have one bad week. They really, like you're saying, Juan, like the fall is so much harder, where it's like maybe just like go up gradually and really impress people throughout the thing. But yeah, she's killing it.
What sports team would you equate her to?
Dude, I was just gonna say it and I didn't want to because I didn't want to bug you.
Go for it.
She's like the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers before the season, I think people were like, maybe they'll be good. They're maybe like maybe an average team. They are doing really well right now. They may be going to the NLCS. They are World Series bound, and really there's no reason for it. They have some good players, but a lot of unknown players. I think that's kind of that's who I would say this is. That she's not a Yankee, she's not a Dodger, but she's in the pack. So let's see how she does. All right. Anything else on? I was gonna say I didn't give out an A this round. If I were to give an A and go back retroactively, which I probably should, it's either between Nyla Downs and Kaus. I would give it to Kaus only because I think it is a bit more creative, and I think the execution was just a hair better. I think like if you look at the construction of this and the way it moved, it wasn't really. It was very stiff. Maybe that's what I didn't really like about it. Maybe that's why.
She's a little golden little like statue.
I mean, that's
so
a fair point.
Stiff.
She is a statue, which goes to the stiffness of it. But I did like the lamb animal part of it. I thought it was pretty cool.
And one more thing, there's a couple things actually with this one. Shout out to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Let's go!
I'm sure they'll be watching.
Brewers number one.
Okay, so with that said, though, I just wanted to say it also reminded me of, or those that, what the hell don't know us, or even those that do know us, another thing that we bond on is Arrested Development. And did you think of the diamond cream that like? So it kind of reminded me a little bit of that. So and then lastly, Silvia Pasquet, she loved the little golden statue she made that she asked for. I'm like, that is, I'm like, and she just
got up out of her chair. She was making a whole show of it. I really did enjoy that. So hey, congrats, Nyla Downs. Let's talk about the loser for the week and the queen that goes home, Patty. What is it? What's the last name?
Patty Piñata. Like a piñata.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. Yeah, Patty Piñata. Okay. All right, last but not least, we have Patty Piñata. Unfortunately, the loser for this week, pretty early. I'm kind of surprised that this person was sent out first. But nevertheless, here we are. I will say by far my lowest grade that I've given this season, full F. And this was, again, before I knew she lost or whatever. Everything was bad about this. Comes out in the blue dress, kind of just a normal blue dress, goes behind a unironed, wrinkly sheet for seems like hours, then goes up to Venanito, is trying to like get him to like fall in love with her or something, and he's like praying or something. She leaves again, changes for another 15 hours, comes back in white. The whole thing took forever. And while I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of editing for the show, they did do a very good job of editing the portion, the second time where she goes around and comes out in her last look, which was kind of a, what was the final look?
They put a 2-speed fast forward.
They put a 2-speed fast forward of just showing up on the screen, and just like the music is also 2x. I thought that was pretty brilliant on their part. I mean, you took so much time for nothing. Nothing really came of it, and this was a hard F for me. But where were you at on this one?
Well, I mean, she's having a rough week because we were remembering like the dog challenge. Maybe that was emotionally playing in the back of her head.
Sure.
She also was going to be on the back of the calendar, so it was like, I don't know, maybe the challenge, like that mini challenge, destroyed her to the point where she was. I love that you brought up the wrinkly sheet, because that was actually another area that was getting really roasted. I'm like, man, she's having a really
iron it, dude. You know you got irons in that fucking place. Come on.
But I have to say, like, what does Beyonce say? You know you're that bitch when you start all this conversation. And so I feel that in many ways, even if like she went out like this and it wasn't a great runway for her, and people probably will think about her drag and not like equate her with being really good, you'll remember her. And I mean, I know that like it's kind of more of an infamy type of way, but I said this last episode, she is probably better behind the scenes. And no, I'm not trying to be mean. We've seen her actual work. I'll put up the video of Rebel Mork's finale look. She built that by hand. So she is maybe more creative, like in the back end of actually building things and creating, than more of a performer. And as we know in this show, you need to be a little bit of both. But you can't afford to not come out with some type of performance. From the looks of things, it seems like she was more used to doing things behind the scenes. That's okay, because I think she can still continue to be an icon. I do appreciate the memes that were like what I was doing while she was changing. It was forever. I hate to kick a person while they're down.
Right, yeah, that's the other. And I'm not like.
Should she suffer? All right, clap if you think she should suffer.
I'm not kicking her while she's down. It's just like objectively, and I think she would maybe even agree, like this was a bad effort. But if you're gonna go down, I think going down the way she did, where this will be a meme for a while, like that sheet, I think that will be such a thing that is used in the community a lot. It's so iconic in the best way. I'm not even thinking we're really laughing at her. I think it's like, hey, we're all having a good time. This was, kind of a miss, and that's okay.
You're not your best, and that's okay. Not everyone's gonna have their best day. So I will, I'm not gonna cower it out for my grade. I will give her an F for this specific week, but I'm gonna go ahead and add that I do think that both of us would say, like, we understand that she was picked for a reason. She wasn't picked to humiliate herself. She probably had a really bad week, and there is a little bit of humor in it, to say the least. I do think that maybe she just wasn't built for a competition.
I watch these shows to be entertained. This was an entertaining moment, and I had a really good time watching it. If I see her in the wild, I'm gonna ask for a picture and say, hey, I really enjoyed you being on the show. Thanks for being on the show. I don't know if I would do the same for anyone else on this cast so far.
What about Benito?
Well, that would be awesome. What a dream. Okay, so that is the winner, the loser. There was also the Calypso Grant. Did you
yeah. So it's just a little
the Duchess Grant. The Duchess Grant.
Duchess Grant.
Won by Calypso. Which I had no idea what was going on.
We have no idea what goes on with it. So they gave it last week too. So it's I think they gave it to Axel last week. So we're still unclear.
Flowers for Patty. Great job. Thank you for being on the show. All right. Well, I think that is it for the episode. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we move on?
No, I think we covered it all pretty extensively. Again, we are on Twitch, where we don't review. It's not Bro Dragness, but we are trying to find the main music or the best music video of all time. We are still very far from doing so please feel free to join us live. There you get to join a really fun community and talk with us and interact. And we love expanding on. It's not too far to think that if you enjoyed the drag shows, you'll also enjoy music videos, or hopefully you do. If not, at the very least, enjoy a really fun community where it's all in good fun, which that's what we're all about, having fun. So That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.